welcome everyone to the Focus TV. We have Octavia Wyatt here, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr. Welcome back for season 7, episode 21. Missed you all last week. Happy to be back this week. As you guys know, we told y'all that by this time the NCAA tournament would have concluded on both the men's and the women's side. So we're going to pick up at the Final Four. We're going to start on the women's side first. And we're going to play some clips from the title game. But we'll go ahead and get this little third up. But on South Carolina in the Final Four, they took on NC State. They beat them 78-59. You had Iowa holding off UConn 71-69 with possibly a controversial call with a allegedly moving screen, what have you. People were in a tizzy that night. It was rather interesting. Either way, got the Sunday. But shout out to the women's tournament. The viewership was crazy this year, which goes again is, if you put it on TV, who knows, people might actually tune in and watch stuff if you put it on TV regularly instead of things like pickleball and whatever other thing people do for tailgating that ends up on TV. I can't think of it. Y'all know what I'm talking about, where they're throwing the bean bags into the wood plank. Wow. There you go. I can describe it, don't know the name of it. Instead of cornhole championships on flagship networks, maybe women's basketball, and who knows, people will tune in. Had a hot start by Iowa in the title game, and we saw South Carolina, being the machine that they are, walk them down. They would leave that with an 87-75 win to cap their perfect season, 38-0. Again, 38-0, going into that game 37-0, which maybe not everybody realized because for whatever reason it wasn't discussed the way it should have been. But again, 38-0. Cardell, we'll start with you then, Octavia. Your thoughts on South Carolina's run through the women's tournament as I go find these clips.
We said it when we talked about the tournament on the show. We said it was basically the South Carolina Invitational. We were just going to see who would make it interesting. They had a couple bumps to the road. A little adversity here and there. Obviously, in the championship game, the way Caitlin Clark started the game in the first quarter, he was like, God damn, had them down 10-0. She had 18. But, I saw Dawn Phil Jackson there. She didn't even move. She didn't call a timeout. She was chilling. I'm like, either she tripping or she knows something we don't know. And it ended the way it usually ended for Phil. They came back. She put the clamp. She sent some girls in there to put the clamps on Caitlin. And, you really didn't hear much from Caitlin moving forward. And I think it just took South Carolina they had the better athletes, obviously the better team, deeper talent. I just think it took the youngins, the freshmen and sophomores, a little time to get adjusted to the pace because, Caitlin, that's part of Iowa's game plan, game in and game out. They run on makes and misses. They want a fast pace to keep you off balance defensively and, play to Caitlin Clark's strengths as far as deep range shooting, playmaking, and using her IQ to make the players around her better. And it caught them off guard at first because it's one thing to see it on film. It's a totally different thing to face it and feel it. You know what I mean? So it took them a little bit to get adjustment. Once they got adjusted to it, it was a wrap. And then they forced Iowa to play at their pace. And the one thing that kept it close was obviously the rebounding, the offensive rebounding, the second chance points. Like you said, it wasn't talked about deeply enough. South Carolina punished them on the boards. Like 51-29. They had 18 offensive rebounds. Like that's what kept them in there. And Cardoza, she was a big part of that, but it wasn't just her. The wings was coming down. They were more athletic. And whenever they missed, that's what kept them in the game. Whenever they missed offensive rebound and they scored, and sometimes they got to the free throw line, that's what kept them in the game. You look up at the end of the first quarter, Iowa's only up 27-20. With that type of start, it's like y'all in trouble. Y'all should be up 15-20. You know what I'm saying? That'd be more like it was like, all right, South Carolina, I don't know. And then after that, the floodgates open, they ain't win another quarter. And, we could talk about, South Carolina, they shot well from 3, 42%, 47 from the field. But for me, outside of Cardoza, her dominance inside, 15 points, 17 rebounds, 7 offensive, 3 blocks, 7-14. That's why she's going to be picked very quickly in the upcoming draft. Man, look, Johnson, man, Raven Johnson. I don't care if she was 1 for 11, 0 for 4 for 3. Her defense on Caitlin Clark over those 3 quarters won the game. cut the head off the snake. Iowa couldn't do nothing. Her defense was so ferocious, ripping her at half court, pressuring her full court, giving her different looks, plucking the ball away. They tried. Iowa tried to just, you know what, we're going to let somebody else run point. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, and they couldn't adjust. And I'm pretty sure that was part of the game plan. Make somebody else have to run the team. And they couldn't do it because then they had to deal with other athletic players and long players and all that, and on top of not being accustomed to running the team. She sat on Caitlin Clark's left, made her uncomfortable. When she went right, she followed her. She got around screens, and when they went inside, all Caitlin Clark saw were trees, and they stood up tall, so she couldn't bait them in the fouls. You see what I'm saying? She played a masterful performance, and that goes to show you how we in this area where people be like, "They defense, that don't matter." It don't. That's bull. Because if it wasn't for her defense, the way Caitlin Clark started, she would have torched those girls and got them up out of there. You know, just keeping it real. In her presence or defensive pressure from Caitlin Clark having 18 in the first to only having 12 over the next 3 quarters. It was just a masterful, beautiful defensive performance. Anybody that played defense, was a defender, or had that in their game, I'm pretty sure they appreciate it, male or female. It doesn't matter because, see, it's one thing to lock up the others. It's one thing to lock up the killer, the one you got to lock up as a sophomore. And that was impressive. It ain't like she a senior. She done seen Caitlin in the AAU. She know what it's like. She done faced her before and all that. She only faced her one time last year, and Caitlin got her. You know what I'm saying? She came back stronger, and she said, fine, you know what, look, it is what it is. It's going to take time for me to get my jumper, but you're going to deal with my strength. And my strength is athleticism and defense. So I'm going to shut your ass down, and you ain't going to score either. How about that? You know, we both going to just be out here getting cardio. But I got more horses on my team, and that's what it's going to come down to. And then you got the you know, Pow doing her thing, nothing bombing threes, Kits scoring the transition, another double. Their front court dominated Iowa's front court, 11-10. You know what I'm saying? You know, for Wiley and Johnson, what can you say? Nasty, man, nasty. They got it in, and you know, their bench production. I mean, Iowa had no bench scoring. They had no bench scoring. I mean, none. Like the starters had to do it all. That's what I mean by the death of South Carolina. They had players, even though they're young, on their bench that will start for most programs, and that's what's coming off the bench. And it's just hard to deal with that. So yeah, they start off high, Iowa, but as you saw, Caitlin got worn down, and that's what defense does. Yeah, she had 30, but she shot crazy. She shot 10 for 28. So it took you nearly 30 shots to get 30. That's a win, because that took away from your team, man. So, you know, Stu Elke, she had a decent game. You know what I mean? Like, Iowa had some help. Martin, you know, they had some guys, some ladies that was getting in there, but all in all, man, South Carolina, they ran the table. We all felt they was gonna win it, and they did. And one thing before I get Dawn, I love how she shouted out the assistant coach's brother, who we all seen come up through the ranks with the Wizards as a player development coach, working out all types, go to Maryland, go to Duke. You know what I'm saying? That first year at South Carolina, player development coach Winston Gandy. I love how she bigged up him, because that's pretty much her way of giving him a head coaching job, saying that he's responsible for the scout. He provided all the details to slow down Caitlin Clark for us to play them and give us a game plan on how to attack them. And it worked to perfection. Now, the first quarter, like I said, it got off to a rocky start, but it was a clinic the rest of the way, man. And for her to do that and give her assists and praise, which you rarely hear from a head coach, it was just great to see, man, especially your brother at that. So want to give her props for that. But, you know, up and down the defensive performances, certain standout performance, Cardoso and all that, business as usual for South Carolina.
Xavier, your thoughts on them capping one of the very few, I think it's a fourth college team to go undefeated on the women's side. Very prestigious programs in the past that have done it. Not shocked that South Carolina's on this list. Your thoughts on this run?
Yeah, I mean, everything Cardell said is 100%. I definitely resonate with the whole Raven Johnson situation. Me, myself, as a player in high school, I wasn't the best scorer either. I was a defensive player that, you know, I always had to guard the best girl on the other team. And when Cardell talks about where people say, like, you know, defense is nothing, but defense keeps you on the floor. Like you said, Raven Johnson was 1 of 11, 0 for 4 for 3, I think she was 1 for 2 for free throws, and she played 37 minutes. She played the most minutes of anybody on the game and on the team because she was out there strapping Caitlin. And I mean, the time that she was off the court, Bree Hall had to step in a little bit. I love how she kept her hand in her face and keep, her vision, blurry and messed up. You could tell that they went into that game with a purpose. I mean, it's nothing like a get back game as well. That's always going to get you up for it, as well as especially a Dawn Staley coach team, because that was talked about. But yeah, basically, like we said the last time we were here as well, it's the South Carolina Invitational, and it's going to be the South Carolina Invitational next year as well. You think about this team losing 5 starters last year to go back and win the championship this year, and now they're losing 1 senior. And who know? And I know they got the girl Maddie from our area, and she's a dog that's going to go to South Carolina. I mean, shout out my dad, actually used to coach her, so I've seen it up close and personal. And yeah, I mean, Chloe Kitts to me also had a kind of a bounce back, not a bounce back game, but she definitely had a good portion of this game as well, where she was down there getting boards just like Camilla as well. Like you said, front line, both double-doubles. Chloe's coming back. Ashlyn is coming back. She was down there getting rebounds as well. Raven, like it's just like it's going to be like this next year. I mean, definitely it's probably going to be maybe a little bit more difficult without a 6'7" Camilla Cardoza. But it's a non-Staley close team, so I'm not surprised at all. Tessa Johnson, freshman, coming off the bench. To me, the freshman is what started everything. Like Caitlin and them kind of jumped out on them early, like you said, in the first quarter. Honestly, I was not worried because I really felt like it was probably like, okay, a little bit of nerves. They do have a very young team. It's a big stage. But I wasn't worried at all. And by the time the end of the first quarter rolled around, I could tell that they were settled in. And just to see the freshmen come off the bench and kind of spark them, Tessa and Malaysia, and to think they're going to be there next year with Raven, they got a year under their belt. They already got a championship under their belt as well. It's going to get ugly for a lot of teams next year as well. But yeah, I mean, there's really nothing you can say. The number 1 team all year. Well, I don't think they started the year off as number 1. I think in the pre-polls and everything like that, which, it is what it is. But they were the number 1 team throughout the entire season, going 38-0, winning the championship the way that they did over the Caitlin Clark story, as we know. Iowa, I mean, they couldn't do anything with South Carolina. Like, I knew Caitlin would get off as expected, but the others couldn't really help her out too much. Hannah Stokey tried a little bit. I mean, I think she did well as a sophomore as well. Kate Martin did what she could. Gabby Marcy to me was really what kind of held them back. Her, Kate, and Caitlin always have to kind of play off each other, and I don't think Gabby took a shot in the first quarter or the first half. So it was always from there. It was like it didn't look too good for Iowa. Hats off to them. They definitely got through some teams this year as well. But it's no surprise that South Carolina won, and that I wouldn't be surprised to see them back there next year either.
As you guys said, it's well-deserved run, hell of a run, 38-0. Feel like not enough's being made of it for them to walk through that. That's 38-0, but that's another story for another day. I'm going to let those folks that be cook on that. But Cardell and Octavia, y'all both mentioned the bench. So I forgot. I wish I got to find a person who put this up earlier. Came across it, doing some last-minute prep. Throughout the tournament, South Carolina's bench won that matchup 222-36. Keep in mind, Cardell, you said 37-0 in the title game, right? Throughout the tournament run, what is that, 6 games or something? Is it 6 games?
Yeah.
Tournament run?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games.
Yeah,
So
6 games. 200 they outscored other teams' benches 222-36, including 37-0 in the title game. Just to let y'all know, again, there's a through line between these title games. Cardell, you mentioned we're in this time where people believe that bigs and defense don't matter. Let me tell you, college basketball on both sides of this tournament. Reminding folks real quick, bigs and defense do actually still matter. They're kind of important. But 222 to 36 is domination off your bench.
And Tessa and Fulwiley. Special. Freshman. And I don't think they understand how big Fulwiley's 5'10". That's a pretty big guard for lady standard. Tessa Johnson 6'1". You see what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying.
And so they're both bigger than Raven.
You got to deal with that, dog. Like I don't think they understand how difficult that is. That's like a 6'9", 6'8" wing in the men's side, but he playing the one of the two. You see what I'm saying? You can shoot over. You don't have no fear. It's small. You're too small. Like Caitlin's, 6 feet?
Yeah, 6 even.
All right, 6 feet. The rest of the team not that big. They about her size. And let's call a spade, man. The reason why it's not being talked about because the colonizers and the media don't want to talk about that. They don't want to. They really want it. They're looking for a great white hope, and it's apparent. And it's not like she's not worthy, but all we're saying is let her earn it. You know what I'm saying? Just call it what it is. Just let her earn it. Comparing it that, oh man, she gonna come in. It could be like a Magic Johnson. No, Larry Bird earned it. He earned it. That's a bad boy. You see what I'm saying? What Larry Bird did, he was the equivalent on his way in college of South Carolina. That the ball team of Mark Aguirre, Terry Cummings, and all them boys, Chicago-born Hoopers legends, he took them out in the Final Four. And then fell to Magic, whatever, but he beat the Killers. Everybody thought it was going to be DePaul, Michigan State in the championship game. Bird got him up out of there. Then went to the Celtics, did what he did. Rookie of the year, over Magic and all those guys. They had, hey, white boy code. We can't even, hey, it is what it is. And don't think it wasn't a little bit of that because it's on the women's side. They can't go back to their neighborhood like, y'all let that white girl bust shy. You don't want them problems, bro. Like it's just real, just like on our side, dog. And that's what made people have to respect Larry Bird. They're like, dog, you let that white boy, hey, leave me alone. That boy cold. That's a different white boy. I don't know where he from. He's just
light skin, that's all.
Yeah. He more down than a lot of brothers. That's a cold ass. Hey, call it what it is. He nice. So that's when you get that respect. She's knocking on the door, but she hasn't got it done. Like you gotta win. And that's the way you get that respect. You gotta win. You gotta knock out people. Now she going to the league. And it's a bunch of hungry wolves waiting on them. The W don't play, man. I love it. The W's like the 80s and 90s on the fella side. That's what people don't understand. And there's too many people giving opinions that we know never watched a WNBA game, never even been there. They don't play. And I'm like, you got locked up by a sophomore, a 5'9" sophomore in the championship game. What you gonna do with Cloud and Brittany Sykes and Ariel Atkins and Alicia Clark and Gabby Williams? What are you gonna do with that? I didn't even. What's homegirl that played at Tennessee? The super athlete. You know what I'm talking about. Not that she played at Tennessee in college and then she left early.
You talking the Shields? Yeah.
Time in the Shields. Kalea Copper. What are you gonna do with those sisters?
Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray.
Like they was on Twitter tweeting like, y'all killing me, dog. Sit on her left. What are y'all doing? They was on they waiting, they watching.
They're salivating.
Because in the WNBA is more ruthless than the fella side because the roster spots are so scarce. And Charlie Collier, number one pick out the league last year. She just was playing for Texas. Who ass did she bust on the way for them to make their run? Angel Reese.
Maryland.
When she was there, they forget about all that stuff because obviously they weren't watching. They just got on this Caitlin Clark gravy train her junior year and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So you got who's the former Diamond from Maryland?
Diamond Miller. Yeah.
What you tell me the other day? She undefeated against Caitlin Clark in college?
Yeah. Caitlin's first time beating Maryland was this year, her senior year. And we know Maryland's been through hell the last 4 years.
With the transfer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's a 6'3" too. So you're going to have to see her again too. With fees and all those other killers on Minnesota. Come on, man. So people don't understand. Now they're trying to change the narrative. Oh, well, you're not saying anything by saying a rookie's going to need time to transition. No. That's not what y'all was saying. Y'all saying the same damage she was doing in college, she's going to immediately do in the league. We're saying, hell no, leave her alone. Let her gracefully go in the league and quietly build things up and transition. No, y'all keep putting the bullseye on the back. That's why Diana Taurasi said what she said. We're gonna get into it in rapid fire. That lets me know, and she's 41. She's not even thinking about that. She just trying to keep her body healthy to help win games. By the fact she said that, that lets me know all the little young wolves in the league, like, yeah, you ain't about to take my job, though. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but it's gonna have to be somebody else. So they waiting.
Hey man, couple weeks, get some ice baths in. This ain't the NBA. It starts quick. Draft is next week. Training camp. Couple weeks after that. First week in May, we live.
Social media fandom can't save you.
Nah, it's real out there. It gets there, and we've had the pleasure, before we move on, we've had the pleasure of seeing Kelsey Mitchell in college the whole time. Saw Kelsey plumb in person during Washington's run when she was out there with Talia Walton, who some folks don't know about. But again, this is going just sharing because we've been covering this game for quite a while. Bruh, it took them some time, Sabrina. Like it's real up there, man.
Hey,
it's real.
I would never forget what Cloud Agnes did to her first game here in DC. That was bad. It was like what Jordan and Pittman did to coach in the Olympics. It was like that. It was bad. I was like, yo.
I almost wanted to call on her behalf. Like, I'm not saying I saw something, but I saw something. Like, that was hell. That was hell. And then this spotlight, y'all keep making it brighter and brighter. Bro, just it's gonna be tough. But I'd say we're gonna switch gears over to the men's side. We had in the Final Four, UConn beat Alabama 86-72 with the late finishing kick in that one. Purdue held off NC State 63-50. NC State's the team that Cardell let everybody know during the ACC tournament before the big dance got started that you should keep an eye on them. And again, I just said they ended the season in the Final Four. Shout out to them for a hell of a run. To do the Kemba UConn thing of the 5 days, 5 games, 5 days in the ACC is not sweet. And then took care of business in the tournament. To bow out in the Final Four is not a bad year at all. But similar to the women's title game, it was a game featuring 2 number 1 seeds. Zach Edey had a hell of a game inside, but UConn will beat Purdue 75-60 as they won back-to-back titles. First to do it on the men's side since Florida in 06-07. And that was that trio of Brewer, Noah, and Horford. And similar to South Carolina, it wasn't the same exact team that made it the year prior. Both programs lost some key pieces and whatnot. But I'd say we start with you. So about UConn Purdue on the men's side.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like it was almost the same thing. Like it was kind of the UConn Invitational as well. I think a lot of people had UConn picked from the get-go. Granted, I think Purdue had a lot to prove after losing last year in the first round to Fairleigh Dickinson. This game honestly was really good. I've never seen, well, I won't say never, but to see a team like execute their game plan as well as UConn did during this game against Purdue, who hoists up a lot of 3-point shots. I think they shot 1 the whole game or something like that. They were like, Edey might get us, but it's going to be nobody else. And they even kind of shut down Edey in the second half-ish a little bit. They all just play like the team that they've been playing like all year. Like, to me, there's not a more complete team that has played this year in the NCAA. Dan Hurley had them boys clicking on all cylinders. Even early on, they struggled a little bit, but you could see that they were want to get back on track. Dan Hurley is a character. I've never seen somebody literally push his player during the game. Like to tell him to go. I was like, bro, what are you doing? You are too into the game right now.
You don't know his father.
Yeah. I'm just saying, okay. So, but yeah, it was just, I mean, once they got it going, kind of later on in the second half, it was a wrap. Edey tried to do everything he could. He had more than half of Purdue's points. I think he had 37. And it didn't match up. I mean, it just didn't happen for them. I mean, it was cool to see two bigs playing against each other, 7-4 versus a 7-2. Big guys in the middle. But I just feel like UConn was clicking on all cylinders and the others for Purdue just couldn't get going. So once that happened, it was a wrap. To go back to back is something that hasn't been done in a while. I think they said, I don't know the actual stats behind it. But UConn, they look good and they took the title again. So I'm not really that surprised. It was nice to see Purdue get there. I always like when you kind of have the best two teams play against each other in a chip, kind of similar on the women's side as well as on the men's side. So all in all, I think it was a good game, but Connecticut pulled it out.
Cardell.
Yeah, since the beginning of the season, it was just like who's gonna really. It was just a matter of UConn was gonna stay hungry. I'm not gonna say they didn't have teams that could challenge them. Like I thought Houston could, but Houston failed. To me, Houston's the closest team to them. With how well conditioned, well coached, how tough, and how they get after defensively. Unfortunately, Houston, their point guard went down. That was a big blow. That was huge, man. So, but even with them healthy, they're not as offensively sound as UConn is, and that comes from UConn being together and having won it before. You know what I'm saying? And the growth of guys. You know they lost like Jordan Hawkins and all that. They lost a lot of guys to the league, and they graduated. But with that being said, man, they executed well on both ends, especially in the second half. It was just a clinic. It was a clinic. And Purdue, I'll give them credit. They still kept competing, which is respectable because the way UConn was executing on both ends, they would have snatched the hearts out of most teams, man. They would have just faded because it was nothing. It was just a stretch where like Newton and what's my man that was catching the lobs,
Johnson.
Tearing their ass up in the pick and roll, dog. Like it was either he was turning the corner and scoring, or it was a lob there. It was bad. Then on defense, digging down on Edey, making him feel like it's 10 people surrounding him or whatnot, and then recovering, getting out there to the 3-point line. They were 1 of 7. They only shot 7 threes in the game. They came in one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. They shot 40% on the season. That's how they got there. That's a big part of the game. Lock that up. And that's what great teams and great coaching staffs force their teams to do. We're going to take something major that you do away, and we're going to see if you can beat us another way. If you're going to find something, hey, Edey, do what you do. We don't care. As long as you're not hitting those threes, because Edey, you getting yours don't hurt us as much as everybody else bombing us, as well as you getting yours. That's when they beat your head. That's when Purdue wins, and that's not the case, man. UConn out rebounding them. UConn out assisting them. 18-8. Like then turn the ball over 8. It was just efficient basketball. It was efficient old school style basketball. Grind it out, make our plays, move the ball, team, and that's what Hurley preaches. I want guys that plays for we instead of me. I don't care how talented they are. If they come in here on some selfish stuff, I don't want them. And it's proven to work. And he has a lot of guys, whereas you came into the season, you may not have thought of them as NBA prospects, but by now they're NBA prospects. Outside of obviously Clennigan and all that, and Castle, because he coming in, McDonald's All-American, highly ranked kid. But the other guys like Newton has played his way into the NBA conversation. To me, that's what great coaching does. They get more out of you than what most people expect, maybe even more than what you expect. And that's what you see up and down the roster. Even Cam Spencer, I remember he was at Loyola. Remember him in high school. He's playing against a young fella, LJ, and all them in that league up in the Baltimore Castle League and all that. You see what I'm saying? No one could have predicted he would be the starting 2 guard for UConn winning the national championship then. But that's just a testament of Bob Hurley. Hurley, obviously being the son of a legendary coach, brother of a legendary player, obviously, from Duke and stuff like that. Understanding what to look for in players. And that's why it's funny with that speech. And Wilson, you know this, when he got hired from Rhode Island, say, give it time, it ain't going to take long. It ain't going to take long, because I knew what they were getting. I literally said that to you. It ain't going to take long. And it hasn't. And now you got the monster on your hands. So the whole college basketball world, first team to repeat since Florida. Back when I was leaving college. So and that mob was loaded. They had a bunch of draft picks. So you know what I'm saying? So it's going to make everybody else have to rethink some things with their recruiting, with the development, and the demands, the culture around their team, because it's a culture there. It's a culture. And the one thing that they kept getting complimented on the broadcast was, look how well conditioned they are. You talking about It's 5 minutes left in the game. They still moving like the game just started. And people wonder why. I'm like, and that's why I feel like Houston's similar. They move the same way. they don't get tired. And I'm just like, oh, that condition is a big part. That's how you maximize what you got. Other teams gonna fade. If you still strong, you gonna win that game, even though if they may be more talented. And that's what happened with Purdue. It's hard to be the more conditioned, quicker team, stronger, more mentally tougher, physically tougher team, man, because you don't even get any airspace. You throwing in the ED, like, yeah, I can't wait. Throw it back out, big fella. He throw it back out. They back out there on him before the ball reaches you. Like, oh shit, and that wears on you. So now you're uncomfortable. You can't even do the main thing you've been doing all season. You got to adjust, and it's tough to adjust in the national championship game. So it's just a sign of just greatness from the players, from the coaching staff, to the culture, man. And it goes to show you, man, that the old school values, they're starting to come back. It's starting to come back. So, and I'm loving that, man. So keep winning, man, because we need that back. And a lot of this BS that's out here is about to be thrown by the wayside, and kids gonna have to step their game up. They're gonna have to really grow and understand the game and become tough, and understand, for you to achieve, even individually, for you to achieve what you want, you can't be selfish. You can't be selfish, because now the spotlight on the whole roster instead of a couple guys, and that's the beautiful thing about winning.
Yeah, you said it a couple years ago. It wouldn't take long. Something he said was during those first 2 years when they were going through it, because he didn't inherit UConn on a good swing. He inherited UConn on in hell. And he was talking about he was telling a story where he went. Jim Calhoun still has an office in the facility. Who's going to tell Jim you can't be in there anymore, regardless if he's on staff or not. And he was Coach Hurley was like, he was complaining about everything going on. He was like, Coach Calhoun, he went to go complain to Jim Calhoun, which is hilarious because I don't know why you would think he's about to tell you anything outside of what he told him, which was get your head out your ass, is what Calhoun told him. Get your head out your ass. This is Connecticut. This is UConn. Fix it.
And you know why he told him that? Because he probably known him through his father.
Yeah.
Well, so he could talk to him that way. And that's probably what his father would tell him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I'm saying. People are amazed at him with this soft ass hair. They talk about his antics on the sideline. I'm like, bro, have y'all seen his father, coach? I saw his father at hoop ball cuss out the entire Paul VI bench, told them to go fuck themselves in the middle of the game. He's a Hall of Famer, dog. Dog, like, they need to understand that family ain't a rich, wealthy. Pops was a correctional officer in New Jersey. He was in the Wolves. He's with the Wolves, man. That's why the hood sent their kids to play for him, because they knew not only was he's a great coach, he's gonna keep them tough. The hood wouldn't get to them. They knew they were protected. They knew they were good. And the parents were like, take them, do what you do, get them to college. And if you got a search, holler at me.
My fault. I was gonna say, you saw the message coming from both sides, from Dawn and from Coach Hurley, talk about how important it is, the parents in the process with the kids that they go after. It was echoed on both sides, and I just want to bring that up because it was 24 hours, y'all, where the message was the same. 24 hours. So about how important it was that the parents, be involved, and also let us coach your kids. And you see what it is. You saw two of the most well-conditioned teams in their respective sides of the sport, mentally tough, deep as hell, talented, bothering the hell out of people, man. We saw, Raven did it that way where she put hands. She took that assignment with Caitlin, and the rest of the team was like, we got that. This one was, and Kling is not, I feel like Kling is not getting the credit for, he took a beating for the rest of the team to do what they needed to do, but it is what it is. Like you said, it's part of it, right? It's part of it, but I'm happy for it. I'm on cloud 9 about it. You told me a couple years ago it was coming, so I've been chilling. They got that one last year. I was cool. This year was house money. They talking about 3. Look, man, it's whatever. I'm hoping that he's here for like 10 years. For UConn basketball, at least on the men's side, there's no in between. There's no gray area. It's trash or chip. There's no in between. So, and I saw people talk like, oh, they can't, that stupid blue blood conversation, whatever. And for personal reasons, I'm just laughing because for Duke fans, any of y'all that know me, we're not speaking. Don't say anything to me for a while. You got to get another one before I have to respond. So we're going to take our first break. And when we get back, going to touch on the Washington Wizards, who in the middle of a game right now with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They off to a hell of a start while we're recording this, 47-28. But we've seen this script before, so we're going to let y'all know how this turns out later. On Wizards Outlook, you're watching the Focus TV. We will return shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Let's get straight to it with the Washington Wizards. All right. They've been pretty busy since last time we talked to y'all. They won a hard-fought game over the Bucks, 117-113, holding off a very big night from Giannis Antetokounmpo in the process, as Corey Kispert and Denny Avdija led the way in that one. Then we had Jordan Poole also chipping in. He had a clean floor game. Didn't shoot the ball well, but he did the rest of the parts of his job pretty well. Jared Butler and Tristan Vukovic had good nights off the bench. Then they fell to the Lakers, 125-120. The Lakers saw what happened to the Bucks and said it won't be us. AD had a hell of a start in that game in the first quarter. And AD and LeBron, especially LeBron picking the spots, they made sure that they held off the Wizards' late rally to walk out of DC with the 125-120 victory. Then the Wizards took on the Blazers. They lost 108-102. DeAndre Ayton had a huge night in that one with 34 points. But it was really just the Wizards couldn't make the plays late, needed to get it out of that one with the win. We saw Scoot Henderson make a big layup while getting fouled down the stretch in that one. But Washington, just some mental errors cost them in that one. Then they lost their third straight game in a row on Sunday when they fell to the Raptors 130-122. Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett combined for 53 in the win. You had 4 players in double figures for Toronto, and they did most of their damage in the opening quarter. They had 40, I think it was 42-17 in the first quarter of that one. And that was really all from getting stops on the defensive end, getting out in transition. A good chunk, Toronto won the points in the paint edge over Washington, but most of that was in the first quarter, just in transition. Most of it. And then you watch Washington get back in the game. They kind of got settled down in the third quarter, but 42-17 is a hell of a hole. Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett did a great job just continuing to apply pressure. Denny Avdija had 32 and 10 in that game. Poole added 29 points and 12 assists. But Washington never recovered from that horrible start. If you guys want more in-depth breakdown, head over to our Roku channel. It's really simple. The Wizard outlooks for those corresponding games are up there, where we broke down those games a little bit more in depth. As of for this week, which is kind of sort of like the rest of the season, as we're recording this, they're taking on Minnesota right now, as I just mentioned. They'll be hosting Chicago on Friday, which is their last home game of the season. And then they travel up to Boston to end the year on the road on Sunday. Something kind of disappointing for Wizards fans to let you know how bad it's been this year. The Wizards loss to the Raptors gave them their franchise worst 64th loss. So just sharing. We share the good and the bad. We're going to take our second break. When we get back, we'll get to DC United, followed by Rapid Fire. And I know Cardell got some great topics for us this week because y'all been acting a fool on social media all throughout that tournament this weekend. So I can't wait to see what he has. You guys are watching the Focus TV. All right, welcome back to the Focus TV. Quick update on DC United. They played 2 games since the last time we spoke to you, beating Montreal on March 30th, winning that game 1-0, courtesy of a Pedro Santos strike in the 85th minute at Audi Field. Then this weekend, the Black and Red went on the road to take on Columbus in a matchup between 2 of the league's foundational franchises. It's always good when those groups get together. It was somewhat of an uneventful first half. Look, there's not much to talk about, which is why you guys, we don't have highlights this week. That much did not happen in the first 45 minutes of action. In the second half, DC would get on the board in the 61st minute as a cross from Herrera was deflected, and Christian Benteke was Johnny on the spot, fell to his feet, slid the ball past the keeper into the near post. DC United takes a 1-0 lead on the road. In the 74th minute, Cucho would receive a red card for Columbus, so the crew would be playing a man down. However, in the 86th minute, homegrown Aiden Morris would come through. DC United cleared it, but the clearance landed at the feet of Morris. Morris took 2 touches. The defense went to close out. He has some room. One of the toughest things for a keeper to do is find the ball or the puck, if we're talking about hockey, in traffic. He kind of picked it up late. He slid the ball right into the post. So it was yet another draw for DC United on the season that moves them to 2-1-4 on the year. So while it's a little disappointing that they left another game with a draw, they have still only lost once this year. Only 2 wins, but 4 draws, only 1 loss. They'll have a chance to add to the win column this weekend, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at Audi when they host Orlando City. All right, Cardell, what you got for us in rapid fire?
Yeah, I'm gonna start on the NFL side. John Harbaugh is happy with the new rule change. He said defenders are going to be just fine without hip drop tackles. He was happy to see the NFL move to outlaw the hip drop tackle this offseason. The league adopted a rule to penalize the tackle, which sees the defender grab a ball carrier and twist them to the ground while falling on the runner's legs. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews missed a large chunk of last season after a tackle that the league says will be a penalty under the new rule. Harbaugh cited the increased likelihood of penalty as the chief reason for his objection to the play and said it needed to be out. He also took issues with comments from pushback against the rule by saying that the hip drop tackle is a relatively new phenomenon. Players will be fine because they tackled just fine without it for 100 years of football before that. But when did you ever hear about a hip drop tackle until like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? Harbaugh said that's because it was discovered probably in rugby and started being executed as a standalone technique. It's a 3-part movement, and you've got to execute that play. You got to be close enough to that ball carrier to actually get him around the hips, pull him close to yourself, swing your hips through, and drop on the back of his legs. If you're that close, wrap him up, tackle him, and take him to the ground like Ray Lewis used to do. And everybody did for 100 years before that. The violation will result in a 15-yard penalty and gains, but it may be enforced more often through warning letters and fines because of the difficulty involved with seeing all aspects of the tackle in real time. Octavia, thoughts on the tackle being outlawed and Jim Harbaugh's reaction to it?
I mean, I feel like Ray said this a couple weeks ago. We might as well just put flags on everybody at this point, because I mean that's basically where we're moving to. Although I understand it, I'm definitely behind the whole player safety thing. Of course, I feel like he's bringing it up the most because, of course, his player has been impacted negatively by it. I mean, it's just something else that the players are going to have to learn how to do. It's just something else that is unfortunately going to handicap the defense. I feel like a lot of times all of these rule changes makes it harder to play defense in almost any sport. So it's going to be more difficult for them to do it. I mean, try to get Derrick Henry down by any way that you possibly can, and accidentally drop your hip. Like, I don't know. So it's like, I just feel like it's going to be hard. I mean, in one instance, like, yeah, their players, they'll probably have to train more, do techniques, but in the heat of the moment in the battle where, you're trying to get to the playoffs and Derrick Henry is running down the field to score a game-winning touchdown and you got to stop him, what you going to do? We've seen Derrick Henry fling people with his arms, so imagine him running full speed, at you. And it's an unfortunate part of the game, but to me, football is a contact sport. You know what you signed up for. I'm not saying that you signed up to get badly injured where you can no longer walk and you have all these health concerns for the rest of your life, but you signed up for a violent sport. I mean, unfortunately, and not to say it this way, it's going to come out really rude and wrong, but you get paid a lot of money for said violent sport. It's just going to be hard. I feel like the defense is going to suffer the most, of course, when it comes down to it, as a lot of these rule changes have. I'm interested to see how much it does impact the game, because to be fair, like kind of like what he said, like I never really paid attention to the actual technique of a hip drop tackle. So I want to see like how often it's happened, because I really honestly never paid attention to it. Like, obviously that's something that their trained eye can look at probably better than me. So I'm more interested to see like how much of a change is going to be for the defensive players. But just hearing it, it just seems like it's another thing that a defensive player is going to be at fault for when trying to play probably the hardest position there is in football outside of, I think quarterback is a pretty hard position, but on the defensive side, like you're predicting what somebody else is doing. So it's kind of hard to always be right on it. And it's going to suck when it comes down to a situation where a lot of these rules are also judgment calls. I wonder if they have, I didn't read too much into the actual rule change. I wonder if they have something in play for that. Although it's not saying that we want a bunch of reviews because then that slows down the momentum of the game. So there's just so many ins and outs when it comes down to it. So mostly I'm just kind of sitting pat and trying to see how it's really going to affect it. I think we won't really know until we kind of get closer to like OTAs and, preseason and stuff like that to see how players are really adapting to it. But it just, not just this rule change, but a lot of these rule changes are wild. So I'm not that surprised, but I guess we'll see how it works out.
Wilson.
I'm here for it as long as there's a trade-off of people can get hit again. So if you don't want people hanging on people's back, let people get smacked again. We got to pick one. That's all I'm saying. Because right now, how many times do we see for 17 weeks? Most of the time, sometimes people get flags because stuff looks violent, where it looked like it hurt. Talk to your quarterback. Ain't nobody telling them to put that thing up over there. Or when you ran across the middle, I hate to tell you, sometimes they might hit you. Sometimes we see a lot of flags because things look like they hurt. Or, what's it called? It seems way worse than it actually was. But, I get it because it is like a three-part technique. I do understand that. I get that it's coming from rugby. I understand all those things. However, I just want there to be some push and pull because we're getting in a habit in sports where it's always taking away from the defense and not giving anything back. So, I get that part of it because it does lead to a lot of injuries, but then alleviate some of the asinine stuff with the hitting zone. You got to pick one. So if you can't jump on the back, which I get, and put all your weight on them and drag them, cool. Let them get hit stick again. I just need that. Or maybe the NFL goes back to some of the thing where we're seeing people get lighter and lighter. That's not all around the league at certain positions where you tell people, you don't need to be that heavy anymore. Maybe linebackers do need to be 230, 240 again if you can't do this. But, I'm here for it either way. I'm interested to see what ends up happening and how the NFL, because they're very special, go about enforcing it.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. Work on your technique, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's easier said than done. Like Octavia brought up Henry. On the other end of the spectrum, Tyreek Hill. You running after him, you trying to run him down. You just trying to get his little ass down, dog. You ain't got time to think about all that. Because if you think about all that, you're going to get burnt. And he's slippery as is. So I get what Harbaugh's saying. I get because it was a lot of that when you watch games. They weren't really trying to tackle. If it was a group tackle, clearly you can just get them down. Somebody just come and just I get that, and somebody can get hurt. But sometimes you ain't got time to think about all that. Like if it's between me just getting him down or watching myself roll up on his leg with the game on the line, hey man, shit happens, dog. If I don't make this play, I might be out of a job, dog. You know what I'm saying? It's just as real. It's just real. Hey, offensive players can help themselves too. They get down. You know what I'm saying? Simple as that too. Especially quarterbacks. Because you would hate for that to happen to like a Lamar or something like that, Patrick Mahomes or something like that. So moving on. Raymond Felton stayed with a lot of people have been wanting to say to Rashawn McCants for years. Called him out on his remarks on UNC. It's the saying that time heals wounds, but that could be on the back burner now for former North Carolina teammates Raymond Felton and Rashawn McCants. Look, McCants left a legitimate Tar Heel legacy as one of the best scorers to wear the Carolina blue. He averaged 17 points per game, shot 48% from field, 41% from behind arc in 3 seasons at UNC. McCants even won the national championship while playing for the Tar Heels, doing so in his junior year. However, following his departure to the NBA, McCants' comments on his time at UNC have made the once Tar Heel hero a villain. Many have let the Tar Heel know that what they felt about him, but nothing like how Felton did when asked about his former teammate on the latest episode of Run Your Race, hosted by Theo Pinson, former Tar Heel. He said, quote, Rashawn McCants is always talking crazy. We won the championship, bro. What are you talking about? I say he's a dickhead, bro. The dude is one of the best scorers I ever played with, but the shit he do off the court, I can't rock with him. Raymond Felton, do you feel like this was way well overdue with the antics? Because it still continues with McCants every now and then on the show with giving arenas or whatnot. He still hasn't let it go. And two-part question: do you feel this was warranted? This ain't coming from a reserve that barely played. This coming from an All-American point guard who helped set up Rashawn McCants to eat and help him get to the league. Wilson, what are your thoughts?
I thought Raymond Felton was very kind. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the little caption in the title, I was like, "That's all he said. That's it." That growth. That is a grown man, and I respect him for that. For all the things I could think of when I think about Rashad McCants, and that's the worst thing that popped in your mind. Shout out to Raymond Felton. It's warranted. Dude's been out here wilding for years. And he's one of the dudes that refuses to hold himself accountable for what he refused to do, which led to his demise in his career. He did those things. That's on him. Phil's talking about, the off the court stuff. Like, I don't think any of this is new. Like, this is just an accountable grown-up answering a question about a not accountable grown-up. But again, so very kind by Raymond Felton. Like, so very kind of Raymond Felton. And yeah, he's beyond for any people that are, because with the Twilight Zone these days, where I'm sure there's like probably a camp of McCants fans that are at arms and have pitchforks up ready to fight for their king or whatnot. But like he's more than warranted and credentialed enough to speak to what he said here. And again, too kind.
Octavia.
Yeah, same thing. I always applaud people when they can, like Michelle says, when they go low, we go high. But sometimes when they go low, you gotta go a little bit lower, just a tiny bit. So I mean, he didn't even go that low, like you said. I thought he kind of kept it as PG as he possibly could. But yeah, I mean, like you already said, like I don't have much to add to what Wilson said. Like Rashawn McCants has been wilding for years. It's about time somebody said something. So the fact that he was able to say it and kind of keep it PG, props to him. I would like to hear the uncut version because I wonder if the PG version was just because he was on his podcast. I would like to be a fly on the wall when he does the uncut version.
One thing that Ray, I watched the interview and it was a great interview. But, Ray, both of them from my high school players. I played against Ray 5-star. So Ray Felton 5-star. Heard about Rashad McCants. Both those boys could do it. But yeah, Rashad, I've never seen a player be this. We got some delusional around here. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But this beyond delusional. Like he is like my man. We 40. There we go. You messed up your NBA career. People got tired of dealing with you. It happens. You didn't want to listen. But one thing Raymond Felton said later in that interview that people may not have caught on yet. He said when they declared, he said they're a close-knit group. Like even Theo Pinson said that whole team still keep in contact. They go back for Carolina alumni stuff. The whole team will pull up they like brothers, except for him, Rashawn McCants. And he said when they declared for the draft after they won the national championship, all of the guys that declared for the draft from that North Carolina team in 2005 held a presser together. The only one who didn't do it with them was Rashawn McCants. He had one by himself. That tells you all you need to know. So this isn't new. And that boy got issues, man. That boy got issues. All you can do is pray for a guy like that. Because it's sad. You only hurt yourself. The older you get, no one's gonna feel sorry for you the older you get and then keep acting like this, man. And he's still holding on to it and doubling down, tripling down on it. And that's just scary behavior, man. Because ain't no telling what else he's like on other issues, man. You effed up your own NBA career by not listening, by being a diva, being in our Kardashian stuff. And the league got tired of it. Raymond Felton said in another clip that's profound for a lot of players. It's like players talk, front offices talk. So when they kick your ass out of the league or release you because they tired of your BS, everybody else across the league knows about it. so you can't get another job. And then you just doubling down on it afterwards, post-career. And it's just like, not only can you not go back to the NBA, my man, you can't even go back to North Carolina, bro. Now, I've heard, look, man, know a couple dudes that played in North Carolina. The words are harsh. The words are harsh when he comes up. So it's just sad, man. We're going to get over to the WNBA side of things. Diana Taurasi on Caitlin Clark and other college superstars moving to the WNBA. Quote, reality is coming. We know what Caitlin Clark has done, Angel Reese, so many others. But when UConn Women's was on the broadcast and it was asked about with that transition right away to the WNBA, Taurasi said the incoming rookies might be in for a bit of a rude awakening. Appearing on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt at the Iowa 71-69 win over UConn in the Final Four on Friday, Taurasi said WNBA veterans are going to have something to say about Clark and other college stars' chances at immediate superstardom. Quote, look, MVP, reality is coming. There's levels to this thing, and that's just like we all went through it. You see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side. You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. Not saying that it's not going to translate, because when you're great at what you do, you're going to just get better. But there's going to be a transition period where you're going to just have to give yourself grace as a rookie, and it might take a little bit longer for some people. Taurasi, obviously that latter part as far as her transition was quick. It definitely applied to her. She came right in as a rookie, averaged 17 points, 4.4 rebounds, 3.9 assists per game in her rookie year. Like I said, won Rookie of the Year and first team All WNBA right out the end, finished MVP voting as a rookie. Last season's #1 pick, Aaliyah Boston, South Carolina, averaged 14.5 points, 8.4 rebounds on 57% shooting, and was named the All-Star. Though her Indiana field finished 13-27, last place in the East. Oh, man. Back to you, Octavia, with your thoughts on Taurasi and these young ladies coming in and then transition to the WNBA.
But did she lie? I don't think she lied. I think she was telling a whole lot of truth. Yeah, I mean, in the OG's defense, you know, the Diana Taurasi's, the real GOATs when it comes down to women basketball, those type of players, they didn't get the publicity that is happening right now, even though a lot of them deserve the publicity that is happening right now during their college careers and even early on in their WNBA careers. So as a competitive player, you're always going to be ready to prove your point. So I get it to that aspect, and I agree. I mean, it's not going to be simple. It's not going to be easy. Just like we just talked about earlier in the show tonight, Caitlin Clark got locked down by, you said, a 5'9" sophomore. There's not many 5'9" sophomores in the WNBA. So like, I agree. Like, I don't think it's going to be as sweet as a lot of people are claiming it's going to be for Caitlin when she gets in the league. I also agree, even with Angel. I think it's going to be a rude awakening for a few of them. Not just Caitlin, but I just think that's the era that we're in. Again, there's a lot of what they're saying in the media now. There are a lot of new fans that don't really know what's going on, and they're just looking at the hype train of, oh, you know, Caitlin can shoot from the logo. She's gonna be doing that all in the WNBA. No, she not. No, she not. I promise you, she won't. She might get a few off. Don't get me wrong. She'll probably get a few off. I mean, think about it. Before Caitlin, the great white hope was Sabrina Ionescu. You see how she struggles. So I'm just like, you have something that you can kind of base off of it. Not saying they're the same player, not saying that they're going to have the same trajectory in their career. They're two totally different players. But Sabrina was kind of like that. She was, I don't like to say it this way, but she was the watered down version of what Caitlin is getting now, right? So she struggled. She's still struggling. I mean, she's had some good games and things like that in the W, and she played alongside last year with Breonna Stewart and Jonquel Jones. So yeah, she got a lot more shots up. Caitlin is going to be playing for the Indiana Fever that has a whole squad of rookies and sophomores that are going to be playing against, like Diana Taurasi said, grown-ass women that's been playing in the W for 10 plus years. It's not going to be sweet. It's not. I don't know what anybody is thinking it's going to be. I'm not saying she's going to have a terrible career. I'm not saying that she can't come in and, provide good things for the Indiana Fever. But to make it seem like it's so like definite that it's going to be this great welcoming party for Caitlin. We're so happy that you put so much of a spotlight on, women's college basketball and now women's WNBA basketball. They're like, bro, we've been doing this for years. Now that y'all are here, thank you for bringing them. Let me show you what y'all been missing. That's what I'm looking for to be completely honest. Like, it's gonna get real, and I love the fact that the college season for women ends, and then like right behind it, the WNBA starts to flow. It's gonna be a quick turnaround. It's not like in the NBA where they get a lot of time off. Yeah. They get a lot of rookie camp. They get a lot of getting together. Like the draft is literally Monday. The last game of the season for them was Sunday. Like Caitlin Clark, I'm going off on a tangent in a second, but I'm not gonna do it. But I'm just saying, like, they don't have that much time. Like, her last game was Sunday, the draft is Monday, and we know the season's gonna be here in no time. Not to mention, this is the Olympics this year. They're also gonna have a break in the middle of the season. How is she gonna be able to bounce back from that? From players who are going to actually play in the Olympics and then come back and still bust ass. So I'm just excited for all the newcomers to come and watch the W and watch how it really gets down. And yeah, I don't think Diana Taurasi lied at all. I think she told a lot of truth that people probably just don't want to hear because they love Caitlin in the story.
Second part question before Wilson goes. Do you feel like the buzz around Caitlin and Angel is because it's a lot of young reporters experiencing this for the first time and they never paid attention to it? And that's
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's literally the wow factor, or something shiny and new that I didn't know was kind of important, because it's like it's half of it is not even the game, to be fair. Half of it is Angel is in Vogue magazines and the NIL deals that are happening, the commercials, and that is really what it is. And granted, it's part of the media's fault. They're playing right into it. They're looking for their cash cow. It's like the basketball version of Taylor Swift that happened in the NFL season. That's exactly what it is. They found something that's going to get people that may not actually really watch this to watch, and they're going to milk it. And to me personally, it's annoying as a former female basketball player to know that y'all. And this is not to take anything away from Caitlin. I think she's a great player, but to even mention her as a GOAT is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, outside of the fact that she did win a championship, outside of the fact that there's a Candace Parker, there's a Shamika Holtzclaw, there's a Cheryl Swoops, there's a Cheryl Miller, there's a Lisa Leslie, there's like Maya Moore, Simona Gut, there's a gajillion other people that honestly that I'm thinking about before I get to Caitlin Clark. Yeah, the threes are nice, her passes are cool, but they've been doing that. That motherfucker
on the screen been doing that.
I'm telling you, she's 41. Play. She's 41 and she's still playing. Like, come on. Candace Parker is still playing. These are people that are still going to be out there against her. So it gets annoying. I mean, who invited her to the Big Three? Like, what are we doing?
That's cute.
What are we doing? He's like, let me cash in on this too, I guess. Stop it. If I see Caitlin Clark at a Big Three game, look, I ain't gonna lie, I don't watch it that much as it is now, but I will definitely not watch it. Like, let's just be realistic. It's getting
gimmicky.
Fictional. It's getting gimmicky. That's what I was really looking for. It's getting gimmicky, and for people who actually really watch the sport, people who actually really played the sport, people who actually really know what's going on, it's got to be frustrating. It's been frustrating for me because I'm just like, all right, Caitlin's good, but it's like, bro, like, okay, I get it. She's great. Like, I think there was an article after the game when South Carolina won and Iowa lost. I think it was CNN. CNN posted a picture of Iowa with the caption, South Carolina wins the national championship. It was only because people tweeted and said, why are you showing a picture of Iowa when South Carolina won? That they switched the picture afterwards.
Views. That's what Kennerly does.
Right. In views. It's ridiculous. I'm glad she's going. Honestly, to be fair, I'm glad she's going to the league because I feel like if she was still in college, we would have a whole nother year of this again. I feel like her getting into the league, it'll slow it down. I mean, it'll still start because it'll be the first year. Like I think they're already playing up this whole Taurasi and Caitlin beef, and they're gonna play against each other and changing arenas. I think they said that Aces is gonna play at T-Mobile Center when they play them so they can hold more people. I'm like, okay, I get it, but I'm just really ready. Like, I never wish somebody to get humbled. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I just really wanted to get down to it so we can actually really see. Like, so y'all that's been looking at the glitz and the glamour of everything, so y'all can really see what it's about to do.
Oh, it's coming. Because when Ionescu ain't pan out right away, remember when they played the Wizards, it was sold out, man. We could barely get in the arena. They came back, standing. It was very empty up top. It was nobody. Did nobody care? They're like, they disappear. They just go with the hype train. And I just think we in a clout chasing era where when somebody get buzz and stuff, people just flow with it. But for those of us, like you said, that been in the game, we know better, man. It's like, dog, y'all gotta chill. It's not like this, man. Very few rookies come in and just set the world on fire. Very few. And the ones that do, those are the ones. I've seen better in college, so I can't even say she one of the ones. You know what I'm saying? It's not a guarantee. That lady right there on the you missed one, Octavia. Stewie won the national championship every year she was in school. Like ridiculous. How many games she losing for? 5? Go ahead, Wilson. You talk.
And you literally just said before this that Caitlin Clark could never beat Maryland while Diamond was there.
Nope.
My bad, man. I'm sorry. Octavia, you got me dying. I appreciate you.
I was kind of holding that in, so it was nice to release it all.
Look, I've been tweeting and deleting my tweets for like 4 days. So I've been so proud of myself. All right. So for instance, Stewie in her rookie season averaged 18, 9, and 1.8 blocks. Candace Parker, her rookie season, 18 and a half, 9 and a half boards, 3.4 assists, 1.3 steals, 2.3 blocks.
Hold on. Didn't she get rookie and MVP at the same damn year?
MVP, yes, sir. First team WNBA. Finished 4th in DPOY voting. Was rookie of the year and was the MVP in her rookie year. Yes.
Caitlin not doing that, bro. I don't care what nobody says. She's not doing that.
So, none of these rookies doing it.
That was Candace.
She's not doing it. That's what I'm like. So why? What GOAT conversation are we talking about? Why? I forgot what we were talking about when Katie was like, I should be in the GOAT conversation. This is like, stop it. Just stop. Just everybody stop. It's making me mad. Like,
but then Octavia, when it gets proven she's not that, this is what they're gonna be saying. Well, she's my GOAT.
Like that's nice that you make so much sense that everybody just has to go with your GOAT. That's nice.
Oh, go ahead, Wilson.
Nah, you good for? I got time. There's like 17 tabs open. As of late, we got Ryan Howard, a 6'2" freak of nature guard. 16 points in her rookie year. 16 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.5 steals. She was rookie of the year, and she made the All-Star team. All right, this one's a little bit more closer. Kelsey Plum, who went crazy in college, like nuts in college, right? Similar size, all that stuff. Well, not similar. Caitlin's taller, but her first year in the league, 8.5 points. Second year, 9.5. Third year, 8.6. 2021 on the Aces is when she started getting, finding her footing. And this is not a knock against Kelsey. This is just showing some of these crazy people the other side of what awaits. And even if Caitlin starts slow, this is not a death sentence or anything. It's just simply saying, for some of y'all that think she about to come here averaging 30, y'all have never watched the WNBA because that does not happen. It's just, that's not how things go. Sabrina Ionescu, her rookie year on a not very good Liberty team, 18.3 points, but she also didn't play the whole year. She was hurt. So that's kind of her true rookie year, like the full year, 11.7 points per game. So, that's been the struggle. And then up to 17, and then, 17 the last 2 years, but that's with Jonquel Jones, Brianna Stewart, the Liberty becoming a little bit better, where you're no longer clearly the first option there at all. Cardell mentioned Diana. Rookie year, 17 points a game, 4 boards, just about 4 assists. She won Rookie of the Year. She finished first team WNBA, and she finished third in MVP voting as a rookie. The woman she was sitting next to when she said these comments, her former backcourt mate, Sue Bird, 14.4 points per game her rookie year, and she was selected as a starter of the Western Conference All-Star team. Asia Wilson, her rookie season, 20 points a game, 8 boards, 2 assists, 1.7 blocks. She finished 7th in MVP voting, was an All-Star and won Rookie of the Year. Another walking bucket in college basketball, one Miss Kelsey Mitchell from The Ohio State. Her rookie year, her first 2 years, 12.7 points per game, 13.6 points per game. Then it's been up to about 17, 18 since. But again, there's an adjustment period. That's all we simply trying to say here. There's going to be an adjustment period. And keep in mind, if largely the big thing was sit on your left, it's going to be a long rookie year. And I'm not being mean. It's just be a long rookie year.
And you can't finish over length and side.
Yeah. Which
there's
nothing but that.
I hope she gets in the gym this little bit of time she got before the season starts. Because she will be falling all over the court, crying and screaming and yelling for a foul. She thinks she was doing that in college.
What's it with some of the push-offs?
Because the majority of the league been overseas. They in shape. The top stars, they in the Olympic national team right now. They've been working out. They're gonna be ready to go. Hit the ground running. And Wilson, piggyback off your average last season. The number of players that averaged 30, 0. The number of players that averaged 20 or more, 5 players. The number of players across the league that averaged double figures, only 41. Only 41 players averaged double figures, 10 or more points. That's what we're saying, dog. Like, people, you don't average 30 in the league. I don't think any player has any player ever averaged 30 in the league in the WNBA. I can't recall, bro. You talking about all the way at the beginning when Cynthia Cooper was murdering the league with Cheryl. Like, I think
27-28 might have been the highest, just off the top of my head. Like
maybe Cappy or Diana or something like that in her younger days might have been up there, like in the 20s. Like the league leader was Jewel Lord. She had 24. She averaged 24 last year. So, nah, man, it don't work like that. It just don't work like that. And then when you got the weakness and flaws that she does, like Diana was complete. She can go either way, facilitate, whatever, all 3 levels, post you out, whatever. She don't have all that yet.
Dude, you want to talk about like career leaders wise?
I just Googled it. The highest average in a season is held by Diana Taurasi.
Of course. What's she average?
25.3 points in 2006.
So no one has ever averaged 30.
And more importantly, this is some of the greatest scores of women's games I've ever seen. I'm going to mention career averages in the W. All right? Career averages. Cynthia Cooper at 20.98. And, her prime wasn't even in the W. Like, she got over late, but that's 20.98. Stewie's at 20.82. Enrique's at 20.18. Asia's at 19.9. Lena Deladon's just at 19.53. DT is at 19.11.
And Deladon, career-wise. And she 50-40-90, about 6'5".
Lauren Jackson, 18.94. Angel McCautry, 18.64. Maya Moore, 18.39. Tina Charles at 18.20. Brittany Griner at 17.68. Lisa Leslie, 17.25. Shamika Holsclaw, 16.9. Right, these are some of their greatest players. We talk about the highest career average is 20. Ain't nobody walking this league averaging 30, dude. And this is the folks that were providing a pushback, we're just folks that have honestly been following the sport for more than last year. Some of y'all hopped on Caitlin Clark and weren't even there for the first year, which is why it's disingenuous and sad to me. She ain't changed. Y'all hopped on in junior year. It's the same shit she was doing the freshman year. You know, some things, some numbers went higher, but what we talking about? We seeing clips, and it's no knock on Caitlin, Angel, some of these other players like, oh, look at what they working on. Bro, it is 4 weeks. Whatever you working on, you're not about that. It's all gone when you gonna go to camp, you gonna see size, and none of that crap you working on is gonna pop up. They ain't even been doing enough for it to be commit to muscle memory yet.
Nope.
Like that's some stuff how it works at the W, the stuff they working on, they trying to work on. That weakness is gonna get fixed that first off season in another country. When you got the luxury of doing whatever you need to do, working on your game, so you can come back ready to go. But it's not gonna happen that rookie year. Yeah, that's how it goes there because there's no summer league, bro. You fit it. Look, tournament's over. Draft
to the league.
USA league. That's it. Ain't no summer camp. Ain't no let me go work with Drew Hanlon for 3 months and develop a bag. Nah, dog. You're here. What you got is what you got. Which is why sometimes a lot of the people for like Cardell, I love you brought up that point that I'm gonna shut up about some of the new reporters. When it's your first go round with this stuff. So all this stuff seems amazing. Everything's new. Everything's crazy. Everything's exciting. Bro, you talk about you watch John Quell up close that whole time. That's some otherworldly stuff looking at up close. All right, that's different. Stewie during them 4 years was ridiculous to watch. Bro, seeing Kelsey Mitchell a couple times I saw her at Maryland was ridiculous. All right, and that's having said that I've been here this whole time for Caitlin. It's not a knock on Caitlin. Some of the Kelsey Mitchell, Cardell can attest to this. I would bother this man about what Kelsey Mitchell did, what I saw with my own eyes on a regular basis. And that's not anything crazy. USA kids be like, it's nuts. Asia, I remember the first time I seen Aaliyah Boston in person. Dog, it's different.
I was there, yeah. Maryland,
it's different. And that's all we trying to tell y'all, man. Nobody trying to burst anybody's bubble. We're happy. Keep the same energy. And all we ask is that when you come over to the space, don't disparage all the stuff that happened before you and shit on it. That's all we ask. Learn about it. Like I said, I told Cardell early this weekend, I never thought I'd live long enough to have people talk about UConn's women's basketball like it was Mike's Bulls. Like they just played plumbers. I did not think I'd be this young when people started talking about them that way. I didn't have that on my list.
Thing. You new reporters that get excited with every little thing. Stop saying everything. Every person's the greatest of all time. Everything is the greatest you've ever seen. Like, oh, the greatest that has ever happened. It may be the greatest you ever seen because you ain't seen much. Study the history of the game. It's been a lot of great performances and a lot of great games. One great game that'll always stand out to me. Hell, I'm in the damn picture at the damn Xfinity. UConn and Maryland sold out. Everybody came. Had Geno stressed. Breonna Jones had Geno stressed out there. Looked like he was drinking during the game. Hell of a game. That was a great game. We've been there through all that. Y'all gotta chill. Even I had to post a clip with her dog Juju playing together as 8th graders on the same damn team.
I was about to say Juju gonna be the one. That's the one I'm looking forward to.
See what I'm saying? They getting busy. I'm like, I seen that. So I'm like, I've seen a lot of these young these young ladies when they were 8th grade. Stop getting excited with everything, man. And media people, colleges, these young, you're not even supposed to really show emotion like that. You're supposed to be even killed. You're supposed to be even killed on press row. Oh my God, it's the craziest I've ever seen. My man, this your first credential ever. Like, you calm down, bro. You're 23, my man. You're 23. You ain't seen shit. You don't know shit. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Wilson.
And that's how we go close. It's like you said, like this is the greatest thing until next week. And that's literally how people live, right? Like not even trying to be crazy.
Now
like,
next it's gonna start all over next week when she get drafted number 1. It's gonna start all over.
Hey man, look.
It's gonna start all over.
And that's cool. I just want the same energy and attention paid that I seen for the stuff that was thrown on the school that I root for no good reason. I want that same energy come week 1 of the regular season. That's all I want. I want the same energy come week 8 of the regular season. Game 15, game 20. Talk to me around All-Star break. Let me know how things are going. Because it's going to be hell, man.
They going to put her in the All-Star game, dog. That shit, regardless what type of season she had, they're going to vote her ass in.
And again, like Cardell said, I don't think people really get it.
It's going to be a gimmick. It's going to be her and Sabrina versus Clay and Steph in some 3-point contest. I'm telling you, bro. They're going to be like, who can shoot the furthest back? It's going to be...
I'm pulling to you, Octavia. As soon as that's announced, I'm not here for like a week. Pulling you, I'm calling it now. It's your fault. You running the show that whole week. That's all you.
What you think they're going to do?
Look, I'm just telling you, if they do that during W All-Star break, it's you that week. I write the show plan is all you. You knock it out.
Let me go ahead and start writing it then.
Man, go ahead and get ready. Appreciate you. We appreciate y'all for tuning in.
And they're gonna be on a break too in the middle of the season. Oh, come on, you know they need something to keep the juices alive.
How you gonna just put that on our mental before we leave? Thanks, Octavia. Thank you so much. We look forward to speaking with y'all all next week. It'll be after the WNBA draft, so we'll see where folks land. The Washington Mystics have the 6th overall pick. I think I got that right. The 6th overall pick. So we'll be talking to you guys about who they selected, how things broke out. Looking forward to another WNBA season, whatnot. But for Octavia, Cardell, myself, y'all have a great week.